This is CBS 8 News Live at 11.
CBS 8 is continuing to follow breaking news out of the South Bay. A shooting investigation is underway in Chula Vista right now. Chula Vista police say at least 3 people were shot after someone opened fire at Novo Brazil Brewing Company. This is inside the Otay Ranch Mall shopping center. It happened just after 7 o'clock tonight. We want to go straight to CBS 8's Steve Price, who is live for us at the scene there. Steve, this shooting started a lockdown at the mall earlier this evening. What's the latest right now?
Yeah, that lockdown lasted for about 20 minutes. We still have about a half dozen police officers out here. In fact, you'll notice the crime scene tape is still surrounding the restaurant. And Kirsten, just within the last 20 minutes or so, officers were taking a good look at that wood panel wall you see on the side of the restaurant. They were going over it with flashlights, looking to see if any of the bullets may have penetrated outside of the wall so that they could look for any bullet casings or shells outside. It doesn't appear that they found any, but you can see there are still officers inside the restaurant trying to figure out what happened. Let me tell you what officers have told us so far, and we'll show you some video from the scene earlier tonight. Started around 7:15. The shooting, as you mentioned, here inside Novo Brazil Brewing Company. According to officers, there was some type of an argument between 2 different groups of people. They are making it very clear that this was not some type of active shooter situation. This was not some random attack. Instead, it was a fight between 2 groups. One of the suspects pulled out a gun and started firing. 2 people were shot inside the restaurant when police got here. That's what they found, 2 victims. Those people were told not life-threatening injuries. They were taken to the hospital. Then later, officers got a call from the hospital saying, hey, there's somebody else here with a gunshot wound. They started talking to that person. It turned out that person had also been shot here but was driven to the hospital on their own. That person also not life-threatening injuries. We've also learned that a 4th person sustained some type of injuries, some scrapes, bumps, bruises, possibly while trying to flee from the area as the shots were being fired, but that person does not have some serious injuries. As far as what happened out here, officers are saying, hey, it was a very busy time. It's Halloween weekend. The restaurant was open. It was crowded. They are very thankful that the situation out here wasn't worse.
It's obviously unfortunate that we had this many victims and that the shooting occurred at all. But yes, it's definitely fortunate that there weren't more injuries. Again, and nobody likes to see this kind of violence, especially in a public setting, in a mall, in an open business. So I'm glad that it wasn't worse. At the same time, 4 victims is too many.
And police making it clear at this point that they have no reason to believe this was in any way, shape, or form a hate crime. They do not believe this was any type of terrorist activity. Once again, they are not calling this an active shooter situation. Instead, they are saying that it was an argument between 2 groups. As for looking for suspects, at this point, they say there was 1 shooter, but he was with somebody else. At this point, they are looking for that person. They did pull over 1 vehicle. They talked to those people, but we're told those people were not arrested. So the search does continue for the shooter. So I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, so Steve, let me ask you a question real quick. 3 people were shot. Do we have any word or update on how they are doing? How serious are those injuries right now?
So the officers telling us those injuries are not life-threatening. I did ask them specifically where were they shot. They said they don't want to divulge that information at this time. They just said that they were at the hospital. They were expected to make full recovery, so that is some good news. And that 4th person, from what we understand, didn't even end up having to go to the hospital. They just went to security. They treated the wounds there, and then they were released as well.
All right, CBS 8's Steve Price reporting live. Thank you for that, Steve. CBS 8's Rosia De La Fe is also outside of that shopping mall for us tonight. She talked with some people who were actually stuck inside of the mall when the shooting started. Pretty scary situation, Rocio. How are they doing in all of this?
Yeah, well, I spoke to many people who were here at the time of the shooting. I spoke to one man who was having dinner with his family right next door at a restaurant there by the brewing company. I also spoke to a lady who was out shopping inside the Apple store right across the brewing company. She said she heard around 3 shots or so, and that's when everyone inside the store, including the employees, locked the doors and quickly ran for cover. And I want you to hear how she described the panic that came afterwards.
They pushed us all back in the back with a poor dog, and we were panicking. The women were crying. We were scared. We didn't know what had happened. We didn't know if the shooter was coming for us. They didn't tell us. It was terrifying.
With everything that's going on around the country and in the world, I mean, it brings some correlation into that. Yeah, but I knew I was safe.
Yeah, those you heard from tell me they are thankful they are okay tonight. Them and their families are okay tonight and that they can make it home safely. But, of course, just a very scary scene here tonight, as you can imagine. Kristen.
All right, thank you for that, Rocio. Okay, so we will continue to follow the latest and bring you updates as new developments unfold right here on air and online at CBS8.com. You can also download our free CBS 8 mobile app. Right now, a 17-year-old girl is recovering after being shot outside of a Halloween party in the Talmadge neighborhood. The shooting happened around 1 this morning near the corner of 49th and El Cajon Boulevard. San Diego police say a fight broke out between two groups of people that led up to a shooting. The teen was treated at the hospital. She is expected to recover. Today, local human rights activist Shane Harris came forward saying that the victim is his niece. He says their family is offering a $1,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. Witnesses say the shooter was seen wearing a gray hoodie and dark pants. If you have any information, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. That number is there at the bottom of your screen. It is 888-580-8477. We also have developing news for you tonight. The Associated Press reports Matthew Perry has been found dead in a hot tub in his Los Angeles home. According to the LA Times, Los Angeles police got to his house around 4 this afternoon and found him unresponsive. They say drugs were not found at the scene, and right now there is no sign of foul play. Perry is most known for his role as Chandler in the sitcom Friends. He was 54 years old. All right, it was a beautiful weekend across San Diego County, but what does the rest of the weekend have in store? Hey, Sean.
Good evening, Kirsten. Yeah, the rest of the weekend's pretty good. The winds from this Santa Ana that is building will not really kick in until later in the day tomorrow. Now, what we're going to see is high pressure build over the Great Basin, and the National Weather Service, getting out ahead of that, has issued a fire weather warning for parts of Los Angeles and Santa Barbara County. Also a high wind warning for much of make that Orange County and Los Angeles County. Here in San Diego, slightly different. We're on the southern fringe of this, so we're getting a wind advisory. However, that might be upgraded if the winds start to pick up a little bit more, which will be very, very gusty over mountain passes along the I-15 and the 805. We're talking 20 to 40 miles per hour, gusts to 45 to 60 miles per hour. Temperatures will also be much warmer than they were today. Mid-70s inland, mid to upper 60s to low 70s along the coastline. Tomorrow, upper 70s, staying that way until Tuesday, where we'll be in the low 80s for you folks in the inland microclimates, mid 80s, and then upper 80s by the time we get to Tuesday. So a good 5 to 10 degrees above average for this time of year. We'll talk more about this high pressure and how long it will stick around.
Thank you for that, Sean. Okay, so today, NASCO christened and launched its newest Navy ship. But just a little bit down from that, NASCO ship workers rallied for better wages and benefits. Workers represented by Boilermakers Local 92 say they cannot afford rent, and it's forcing them to live in Mexico. One of the employees says he has to cross the border every day at 1 o'clock in the morning just to make it on time to work.
It's not enough what they're offering right now. We want to get them a fair, livable wage so they can live here.
NASCO says they are aware of today's demonstration, and they are continuing negotiations with the group on Monday. Employees say they hope both parties can come to an agreement. A strike could be possible if a deal cannot be reached. The U.S. Coast Guard is launching its first California-based Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps program. High school students will have the opportunity to explore careers in the Coast Guard and gain valuable leadership experience. The Coast Guard first started Junior ROTC in 1992. They plan to expand the program to every Coast Guard district by 2025. Still ahead, Israel starts its ground invasion of Gaza as its people are held hostage. How people here at home are raising awareness. Plus, a woman stuck in the East County in a cave for 16 hours. We have her lucky rescue and a very wild encounter. We show you the moments a bear broke into a hotel and attacked.